What do you say, gang? Thank you for watching. This is an edition of the American Dufus Show. The uh, more episodes done as the American Dufus Show than any other shows we do on here. And we do other shows on here. This is going to be relatively short. I watched Moorish World TV earlier tonight, Taraka Bay, and had a very interesting show, and it took me back. The subject of the show was a man named Spite. His condition, predicament, his situation, whatever you want to call it, he was just sentenced to 2 years in prison Friday for going to Florida to try to raise money for another man, Othell Wallace. And it just took me back. When we started this show online, I've been documenting things in other formats, but when we started doing this show here on YouTube, it was during the Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and the names just kept coming and coming and coming. And on July the 4th of 2020, I became aware of Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC, and I started documenting, and have done many episodes, as you can go back and watch. And Grandmaster Jay is going on trial tomorrow, as of this recording anyway, unless things have changed. And he's going to be going on trial in Louisville, Kentucky, with charges of wanton endangerment. And a police officer, former police officer in Louisville, Kentucky, was also charged with wanton endangerment. And it was in the Breonna Taylor case. And that police officer fired recklessly into an apartment building, 25 rounds, I believe, and almost killed some people. And those were the only charges ever brought in the Breonna Taylor murder. Okay, and the police officer was found guilty of wanton endangerment and received probation. So Grandmaster Jay tomorrow is going on trial in Louisville, Kentucky for wanton endangerment. And if there's justice, then he should be on probation. A lot of people have said a lot of negative things about the NFAC and about different groups and different groups. And I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to get in the middle of all that. I never did. I used to have a lot bigger audience, but I worked with NFAC Watchdog on a project that I found out tonight, again, by watching Moorish World TV, that like $70,000 was scammed out of the community and away from worthy causes. And that's what the NFAC Watchdog and myself were doing. And I got attacked for it, all the way up, including death threats, but we were right. And I communicated with NFAC Watchdog that I'm going to lose a lot of viewers over this, but it's eventually we're going to save people money, and people aren't going to get scammed. And So, sorry, got off on a little tangent there, but Grandmaster Jay's going to trial tomorrow. And actually, as this is probably going to, this is going to be after midnight, I can guarantee it. So he's going to go to trial later today. I'm going to try to get some reports on it if I can. I don't know how long the trial is going to go. But I followed this guy, documenting him all the way through, and I wish him nothing but the best, in all honesty. Now, the optics, I got to be honest about that too. The optics don't look good. The pictures don't look good, but the guy's a little bit younger than me, but and probably got a lot better eyes than I do. But if I had to look and see if somebody was on the top of a building, 3 blocks away, I would need some kind of magnification. And I think that's what he was doing. I don't think he was actually threatening, but the magnification was on a gun, and in a picture, it looks a whole lot. I think it looks a whole lot more heinous than it actually was. Okay. Because, and people are talking smack about it, NFAC, and have been. And again, I'm not getting in the middle of all that. Everybody's got their opinions, but I'm going to, I've always done this as an outside observer. And I felt at that time specifically that there was a need for the NFAC for protection of the Black community. I was seeing a lot of far right stuff from 2015 on, because I was documenting what was happening in our world, and specifically in our country. And so everybody was calling him a clown and this and that. And, the guy is anything but a clown. Okay. And I've never talked to him. I've never met him. I've never had a phone call, never even exchanged text messages. And just about everybody else around that time period, I had some sort of connection. Either, I was on OC the Great show. He had questions for me. I was happy to answer them. They, people were on my show, or, in the comments or whatever. But, a lot of people had a lot of negative things, but at the same time, and still they'll make fun, he just marched up and down, they just marched up, they didn't accomplish it. They accomplished a lot. They really did. And they did so from a power standpoint. They showed the potential power if the Black community did indeed unify on a major scale. They showed the potential power that would be there politically. Okay. They didn't do it demonstrating violence. Everything they did within the law, because Grandmaster Jay knew that that's the only way you can do it. The only way you can grow it is do it legally, because one false move, they catch you with one thing and the whole thing goes apart. And there were a lot of people cheering for it to go apart. Well, that's the past. And I do wish Grandmaster Jay the best tomorrow. Again, I hope that he gets, if he is found guilty, I hope he's found innocent, because I really don't think he did anything wrong. But if he's found guilty, which may happen because of those, because of the pictures, and whatever testimonies given, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, if he is found guilty, I hope it's nothing more than probation, what the police officer got in the Breonna Taylor case. Okay. Those things are significant. And while I'm on that, if you're a member of the Black community, thank you for watching. Thank everybody for watching, no matter, because this isn't about, that's how I got such a relatively big viewing audience, because I'm one of the only white people, and I was at that time, and still there aren't very many of us that are on here that don't hate Black people. The ones that are on here that hate Black people, they got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of followers, And this isn't about followers. This is about truth. It always has been, and it always will be. The truth right now is, if you're a young, strong Black man that happens to be watching this, first of all, respect to you and to your community. This is not the time to be radicals, is my advice. Take it for what it's worth. This is the time to seriously work on defensive situations that you're going to possibly need to defend. Okay, just something to think about with the way our world is. And I say that because of Othell Wallace and because of Spite. Spite's got a 2-year jail term and didn't commit any violent acts, but put himself in a situation with his social media that made the circumstances worse possibly than they should have been. That's just an observation. It's not a judgment or anything like that. And there is always a need for strong Black men in our country, but specifically in their communities. And I know that's like, you may think, well, man, that common sense. Yeah, it is common sense, but also I think it might need to be reiterated. So this is not the time to challenge situations or to, in my opinion, it's a time to build. It's a time to build. It's a time to make sure that, if shit hits the fan, you know what you're going to do. It's no different than I've been talking about since Russia invaded Ukraine for the second time. They invaded the first time in 2014. They re-invaded with more people this time. I've been talking about the need to prepare, not panic, not rise up, nothing like that at the moment, but be prepared for things that, we are in a world where you can wake up tomorrow and everything can be different. You don't have no power. As far as electricity, you don't have any water, you don't have any communication. It's not going to take very long in any bad condition for things to keep getting worse. And that's heaven forbid that ever happens. But if it does, and I'm just thinking, I'm talking on a human standpoint. I believe one race, the human race. I'm not there are not enough of us that believe that at the moment. So there's going to come a time, if things keep progressing as they are, you don't defeat fascism in total at a ballot box. Now we can do that. We can defeat fascist candidates at the ballot box and maintain our democracy. And I hope we do that, but they're not going to go away. Okay. They're not going to go away. And I wasn't going to do any news or anything. I was just going to do a short little thing here. But now that I'm talking about this, give me a second and let me pull this up. And by the way, I will be live 10 p.m. tonight, Monday night, the 25th. And I'm going to, I'll have some news, and hopefully there'll be some time to get in the chat, ask some questions, answer some questions, whatever. Again, hang with me for just a couple of seconds here. Because I've got a lot of news I could be doing, and just to give you a rough idea on some stuff that's happening, a couple of bombs or a couple of explosions have happened inside Russia, a couple of more, one at an oil depository and the other at the fuel depository on a military base. And this comes just after the United States Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State. They both were in Kyiv meeting with the Ukrainian president earlier today. Also, we've been talking about lockdowns, and Shanghai, Beijing, the capital city of China, has just introduced mandatory testing, and they're concerned about a lockdown there. We'll talk about all this stuff in more depth tomorrow. I'm looking for one specific story that ties into what we're talking about here. In downtown Sarasota this afternoon, Proud Boys are out to support Ron DeSantis and his anti-groomer, anti-CRT legislation, as well as legislation to cut out 2 Black congressional districts so that there are less voices from the Black community in Washington, D.C. So this is what I mean when I say stay in your communities, stay with your families, build locally, but still do the still network nationally. I'm not telling you, I'm just, I don't want to see people playing checkers when there are chess games going on, is all I'm saying. All right. And I'm saying it out of love, out of respect, and out of wanting everybody to stay safe and peaceful. Because there may come a time where we have to, we have to do things on our own because situations happen where the government's not around, no matter what that may be. And I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see anybody unjustly incarcerated, and I sure don't want to see people dying. I love y'all. Thanks for watching. It's been the American Dufus Show. Don't be a doofus. Hey, it's a dark world. Do try to be a light. Try to be a light. I love you all. Until next time.